A moment of magic last time out for Atlanta United 2 gives them full points at home against Ottawa. If they do it tonight, it's a major crimp in the postseason plans for the Charleston Battery. The USL Championship on ESPN Plus next. Time for a little action at the Fraction in suburban Atlanta. It's the USL Championship on ESPN Plus from Fifth Third Bank Stadium here in Kennesaw. Tonight, the homestanding Stripes of Atlanta United 2 come in with a record of 6-16-6. The road woes for Charleston Battery follow them here to suburban Atlanta as they come in with a record of 8-11. Alongside Jared Smith, I'm John Nelson. Thanks for accessing us however you are doing so tonight, large device or small. And Jared, obviously the plot line here is 90 minutes long, but the plots themselves can take you two separate ways.
Yeah, and it's two teams that are looking for two different things. If you're Atlanta United 2, you're trying to build off of a good performance against Tampa while getting young players chances to continue to perform and to spoil things for a Charleston Battery team that is fighting for one of those last playoff spots. A disappointing, rough 1-0 loss up in Pittsburgh. And, John, look at that goal difference. How big could that be for them?
When the top 10 make the playoffs, and Charleston right now is at a +7 when you're looking at the team above them in the standings, the Birmingham Legion, you get a win, you really put the Legion behind a lot of hard work that they need to do as the season goes along. Guys in the spot shadows tonight, we'll start with the visitors and one of their big guns for the Battery, Atula Guerra.
Fourth season in Charleston. Guerra is one of those guys that if he gets going, they're going to ride him and ride him to a very good night. Want to get him involved early. It can be very effective against an Atlanta United team.
We go from Battery, spot shadow for the Stripes. It is youth, but you want to talk about some of the great youth that the program has put together. George Bello here tonight.
George Bello has been one of those teenagers, but he's a different breed of teenager who has experience with the first team at MLS level, comes down here looking to make moves on the left-hand side. We'll see how many minutes he gets and what he influences.
We'll take a peek at the 11s, the 18s, the coaches, and get you ready for the first half of the tale from Kennesaw. It is the Charleston Battery and Atlanta United 2. The USL Championship on ESPN Plus just around the corner. Stick and stay. We'll have the first 45 when we come back.
Los accidentes suceden sin avisar y conseguir el tratamiento médico que usted o un familiar merece puede resultar difícil si no cuenta con la ayuda de un buen abogado. Por eso nos dedicamos a pelear por sus derechos, asegurándonos que usted no solo reciba la compensación que merece, sino que también reciba la mejor atención médica. Le atendemos en español. 404-888-8888. Bader Law Firm, comprometidos con usted y su familia.
There are never enough hours in the day, so you can't let sniffles, strep, or aches and pains slow you down. But finding great healthcare that fits your schedule can be tricky. With Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, you can get great same-day care right around the corner. There are 27 locations and counting, all with extended hours and most open 7 days a week. You can book an appointment online to get in, out, and on your way. Visit piedmont.org/quickcare now to learn more. Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, one stop to better.
I knew your name before you did. I knew your fears, your hopes. I knew what you could accomplish, how great you could be. And I knew just where to take you when you got hurt.
You'll be back out there in no time.
For physical therapists and certified athletic trainers who only work with young athletes, there's Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine. Moms know.
Los accidentes suceden sin avisar y conseguir el tratamiento médico que usted o un familiar merece puede resultar difícil si no cuenta con la ayuda de un buen abogado. Por eso nos dedicamos a pelear por sus derechos, asegurándonos que usted no solo reciba la compensación que merece, sino que también reciba la mejor atención médica. Le atendemos en español. 404-888-8888. Bader Law Firm, comprometidos con usted y su familia.
Welcome back to Kennesaw. USL Championship with Atlanta United 2 and the Charleston Battery coming up just around the corner here at the Fraction, Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Those are your records as the action is here in and around and below the playoff bar here in the East. Let's take a peek at the starting 11s. Let's start, Jarrett, with the visiting Charleston Battery. Schedule compression has really made this an interesting look.
Yeah, it's all hands on deck. We talked to Poppy Miller out of Charleston this week, and if they traveled, they're ready to play. So you're seeing Atula Guerra up top with Higashi up there, really technical player you used to seeing come off the bench. But you've also got Taylor Mueller back in this lineup, and Leland Archer being out injured in Pittsburgh hurts a lot.
Let's go to the flip side for the homestanding Stripes. You look at Atlanta United 2, and we mentioned George Bello in the open. What else do you see?
Looking at this is Jackson Conway up top again, going to be asked to do a lot of physical work. Fernando continuing to cause problems. George Bello, who we spotlighted early in the game. Dacus Campbell, what you're expecting to be Ambrose on the back line, going to have their hands full.
Take a peek at the coaches. There's Stephen Glass behind the plexi as he gets ready for this big match here in the Eastern Conference tonight.
You know, I think things have gotten better for this club. It's always a tough ask because you don't know week in, week out what you're going to have with a team like Atlanta United too.
All the way over to the far left-hand side, right next to the plexi. One of the legends here in the USL, Mike Anhauser.
You generally know what you're going to get with a Mike Anhauser team, and they'll be looking to get that tonight as they try to climb back into the playoff situation.
There's your ref. Natalie Simon will be the voice in the middle this evening. Eric Wood, Kyle Whitley, and Kevin Huey is your fourth official tonight. So we'll be paying attention to what Natalie has to say tonight. And Jarrett, when we look at the keys to the match, I know that you had some things scribbled down. What'd you have in mind?
Well, looking at the keys to the game for Atlanta United too, as you're getting into this, you want to play clean. You want to be good with the ball at your feet as Charleston takes advantage of things early on here. You want to play clean with the ball at your feet, and you want to be mentally sharp. This is a team that has not always started sharp, and they've also had trouble when it comes to having mental letdowns after scoring goals. So you're going to need to stay sharp against a veteran team. As far as the Charleston Battery go, you want to strike early. You already see a little bit of a press there. If things don't press hard, you might see them drop off a bit and play that traditional Charleston style you're used to seeing. And you've got to take advantage of opportunities if you're the Charleston Battery. You expect Atlanta United to, a team that passes well, to turn the ball over sometimes with some of these young players. Charleston's absolutely going to have to take advantage of the counters they get.
Amir Bashti with it, working his way forward to Captain Jack. And back to George Campbell. Wesley Dacus. Working his way around the horn to the near side. George Bello. And back to Mikey Ambrose. And working it all the way back to the far now with Campbell.
This is the back line that we've seen, especially the Campbell-Dacus combination. We've seen at times this year. It's incredibly physical and it's incredibly talented. You worry sometimes with a guy like Dacus just because he is a bit raw. You see situations like he had in Tampa where he tries to clear a ball and puts it right back on his net, forcing his keeper into action. But there's a lot of upside with both of these guys in this back line with a guy like Mikey Ambrose to help.
Campbell, Metcalf. Dante Marini was marking there quickly. Jose Hernandez in the middle of it all. Bashti. And we also know that there is action going on simultaneously with the first team up at Nippert Stadium. We'll keep you up to date as best we can when it comes to Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati in a huge match in the top of the Eastern Conference where the Stripes are concerned.
Not dissimilar from what we saw in Tampa Bay for Atlanta United too, coming off a really nice performance there. When given the opportunity, just knocking it around, trying to unlock things and finding a bit of a comfort and a rhythm as you see Kevin Kratz start to try and charge in here. Those are the turnovers you don't want to see if you're Atlanta United too.
Jared Van Schaik standing in the way. Turned back over. Luis Fernando to George Bello. Mikey Ambrose. And returned. Chip to Bashti, but he can't get out of all of those white kits that are right there. Kyle Nelson was the one who interrupted that particular run for Atlanta United too. Wesley Dacus having to come all the way back for it and chase. And George Campbell is there.
You watch George Campbell play, you get a reason of why they offered him that homegrown contract that kicks in next year. Plays wise beyond his years, still 17 years old. Does not physically look like a 17-year-old, and emotionally, it does not play like one. He plays beyond his years, and you'll see a lot of times against teams like the Charleston Battery where it's older players. It's a lot of veteran players who have been around the block a few times, and they know how to try and get under a guy's skin. He gets asked to do a lot, and a lot of times he steps up and does it.
And we've seen that with Miles Robinson last year. We saw that kind of development early on. We've seen what he's been able to do now with Atlanta United, and we're seeing that with all of these youngsters that have been put as a part of the roster this year. 40 players have been showcased by Atlanta United too, but a lot of them are the youth that Atlanta United has in the pipeline.
You don't have as many on the bench tonight from the academy as you've seen recently. Will Riley had been featuring a lot. in big opportunities. It's a little bit more of a little bit older team for Atlanta United too, but older just means they might average 20 years of age.
Average age this year for the Atlanta United 2 roster, 21 and a half, and that's with cycling these 40 players through. Yeah. Kyle Nelson with the throw. The Wofford Terrier. No whistle. It's going to stick with Charleston here.
This is a game we talked about before the game, John. A game that could get physical and could get mucked up a bit, and we'll see how it's handled by the referee in the center.
We know that Atlanta United and Charleston Battery have a history through U.S. Open Cup and the twos when it comes to their activity with the Battery. There's also stuff there as well, and a chance almost for Dante Marini, but Brendan Moore gets there just in time.
That vertical ball is going to be dangerous. It's going to be important for Atlanta United to communicate on those balls like that, where you've got young players like Dacus and a young player like George Campbell back there to communicate, and to ask Moore as well to command the box, and both on those and on set pieces, he's got to be assertive.
Campbell, Hernandez gets away from Dante Marini. And here comes Mikey Ambrose. Bello settles it. It's a hard pass, but he nicely done to try to keep control for Atlanta United 2 there. And you see that particular society working. What a ball from Kevin Kratz. Can he get there? Kyle Nelson gets there to interrupt it, but a fantastic idea from Kevin Kratz.
It's a fantastic ball working your way down the left-hand side there. And you're at that point, you're asking a guy to make a perfect play, which he did up against a young George Bello. So it handled absolutely perfectly there if you are Charleston Battery. And Taylor Mueller talked about how confident they are with the defense lately, even though you had a tough result go against you in Pittsburgh. This is a team that can score goals, as Joe Kosminski's back in goal tonight for the Charleston Battery. And, John, I think you described him effectively as a rhythm keeper.
Yeah, 25 starts this season for the Battery, and he's allowed only 35 goals, so goals against of about 1.4. You're having me do math this early in the match. So it's going to stick with the stripes here, and it looks like Kevin Kratz will be the throw, and they're going to take it all the way back with Bello, who will restart very quickly near center line instead. But, yeah, Kosminski is a rhythm keeper. Having talked to him throughout the Charleston Battery season, you know that he's a guy that likes the challenges, understands schedule compression, understands what is meant for him. And then you have a guy like Phil Brino, who was there for them in Open Cup. And Phil Brino has been a part of the Battery tandems that they've had in goal in the past, where you had Kosminski as a part of it, was a part of the tandem last year. Now he's getting his chance to be the full starter.
Yeah, I think he's done well with it. You'll want to see him take next steps, and that's just a part of growth. Even as an older player, you still expect to see growth. I think with some of the older players out there, they can find ways to improve as they get more minutes. And looking at Atlanta United 2, playing it back to Moore, this is another thing when it comes to development. Tyler Ruthven, who's not in tonight, dealing with an injury he picked up, is a player who talked early in the year for this young team about being that veteran presence who can kind of pull the emergency brake a bit and slow things down when a young team gets going way too fast, gets their feet out from under them. They're going to have to do that tonight to make sure they keep control of the pace of this game, and it plays the way they want to, not the way Charleston wants it to.
And it might be the guy like a Kevin Kratz here on the ball. It might be Captain Jack, would be that presence who would drift back occasionally and try to sit there and calm things down at the back line with Ruthven not being there tonight.
Yeah, and that's going to be guys like Jose Hernandez, who's kind of switched positions on this roster. A guy who came in last year was slotted in that left back role. Now he's kind of shifted around there, but provides that stability, provides a bit of a rock there at times. A beautiful ball down to Fernando on the left hand side.
And getting there is Taylor Mueller to head things off, but Fernando with possession swings it in with the left over the top of everybody, cleared by Obi Woodbine out toward center circle.
Well, how much did they miss Taylor Mueller last week when you go to Pittsburgh and he was out, and then you lose Leland Archer in the middle of that game? Just a really tough situation against a Pittsburgh team that, let's not sell it short as, George Bello working in.
Fernando, edge of the area, in with the left deflected, but it's right on. Took an odd hop, but Joe Kuzminski falls on it, so Charleston will get it to start their next possession here halfway through minute 9.
Anyway, Pittsburgh has won roughly, 33 games in a row? Feels like it.
Yeah.
They have not lost in a very long time. And Charleston goes up there without one of their center backs, loses another one, and fights a valiant effort. It's great to have Mueller back for them, though, in the back line.
And he's going to have to wear that Phantom of the Opera mask to protect his face for the remainder of the season. He thought that there was a point early on after the injury, and he had rehabbed it, that he was going to be able to finish the season without that mask. But after consultation with doctors, they're like, nope, let's go ahead and keep that mask on for the remainder of the year. As there's a turnover here, middle third, and here comes Luis Fernando. Opportunity, step over, a lot is there, gets there first, chip it in! Luis Fernando over Obi Woodbine. Great step over work by Luis Fernando, and it is 1-0 to the Stripes here in the 10th minute.
You wonder why he got a first-team deal recently. That right there is why. Luis Fernando takes advantage of the opportunity. A little bit of step over, gets 1v1 with the keeper, and just a class finish into the net.
Turnover right in the middle of it. You see the end of the play right there. Step over, gets it over Kuzminski and Obi Woodbine, puts it in the back of the net, and Atlanta United 2 with the lead. Luis Fernando with his second goal of the season, and it's 1-0 to the home side.
It's exactly what you wanted if you're Atlanta United 2 now. Now Charleston, who needs points, as we talked about in the pregame, now they've got to come after the game. They've got to get exposed a bit. That back line is good. It's veteran. It's not necessarily the quickest in this league.
And there's a giveaway by Woodbine as he was looking for Mueller. And to finish the Mueller story quickly, he's going to have, I think, surgeries planned after the season to correct things. And they said that if there was any more contact in that nasal area or any of the orbital bones and things like that, it could really do some serious damage. So he's going to have to be that way for the remainder of the season.
Well, he's still one of the more fun players to watch in this league and feels like a staple, at least he has since I've been watching USL. So he's been fun to watch, and hopefully he gets that fixed up and he's back to normal. If he wakes to keep the mask, though, it's a good look for him.
Phantom of the MUSC is probably how that goes. Mikey Ambrose in pursuit. Nicely done to keep any kind of a drive into the area. Big push, no whistle there, so it's going to be right back to the Stripes. Nicely defended there by Mikey Ambrose.
This is exactly what you needed from Atlanta United 2, except right there, that ball from Fernando goes back to Charleston. But this is where we talked about, if you're Atlanta United 2, being mentally sharp after you get that goal. You don't want to ride too high on it and then give up an easy opportunity.
So you heard Van Schaik there right in the middle of it for the interception. So the transition happens again for the Battery. Taylor Mueller looking for Nelson. Nico Rittmeyer, Kratz on him. They're going to go back to the back, and another dangerous idea. Jackson Conway almost got in the way of that one for another turnover that could have started something else for Atlanta United too.
Jackson Conway is another one of those young kids out of the academy who just puts in a lot of work. He takes a lot of abuse for a kid who's 17, 18 years old, does a lot of hold-up play, takes a beating, chases balls around, but has gotten so much more confident in the way he plays the game. It's been a really fun player to watch develop this year.
Dangerous idea by Campbell. Dante Marini got there in pursuit, but Brendan Moore ends up getting rid of it. And here comes Atlanta United 2 again with Bello driving on Nelson. Lifted ahead to Luis Fernando, trying to turn on Taylor Mueller. Nicely done to get out of the jam and get out of the corner, so we're going to bring it right back out. Ambrose and Kratz combining.
Atlanta United 2 taking their time here, not trying to rush things, not looking to play the ball in when it's 1 versus 3, even though Jackson Conway's a guy you're willing to take that chance with sometimes. Taking their time here, getting the ball out, getting reset and feeling comfortable.
Campbell and Dacus halfway through minute 13. Kratz, Fernando double teamed there by both Rittmeyer and Nelson. Looks like it was last touched by the Battery. It's going to stick with the Stripes.
I don't know how he came out of there with the ball, even though he stepped out of bounds a bit. It was a little bit of a magic trick there. He came out with it. No one's really sure how.
Good idea by Bashti. Looking for Metcalf.
Bashti, another guy who's been earning time for Atlanta United too. recently re-signed, was signed by the team early in the season. As there's a possible turnover there, Charleston trying to get it, but it looks like Dacus is going to pull it back and keep control for Atlanta United 2.
Nungo basically bowled over Kevin Kratz to get possession, so I think we see what's going to be the way of play here halfway through minute number 14. They're going to let a lot of the physical stuff go so far, and they have, so we'll see how it continues to play out for the rest of the night.
Everyone's going to have to adjust to that. You're seeing how it's called. Now you have to adjust the way you play and what your expectations are. At this point, you just ask that it's consistent.
Captain Jack called for it. Dacus held on to it. Kratz and Ambrose combining again. Nico Rittmeyer in pursuit.
Yeah, Metcalf has been calling for the diagonal ball a few times now. Atlanta United 2 been keeping on that side of the field. Now Dacus is going to play it, and it's a little bit short there, creating a bit of a turnover opportunity.
Higashi had the chance. Marini and Garib with the back and forth. Woodbine and Jared Van Schaik. Van Schaik's played in 25 matches this season, 1,410 minutes in all of that activity. By far the leader when it comes to games played and started. Really the Iron Man for the Battery this year.
And we talked about being all hands on deck for the Battery in this game, in this stretch, as they're trying to squeeze points out anywhere they can to keep pressure on a Birmingham Legion team that's just above them in the standings.
We've mentioned schedule compression. We'll get into that as the night goes along, and it's not held by Kitaro Higashi, so it's going to be a throw for the Stripes. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation for the latest Select products, like the one that they're bouncing around right there on the pitch right now, and special offers too. Please visit SelectSportAmerica.com, and it's going to stick with the Charleston Battery.
Battery not a team you associate with traditionally necessarily with carrying a lot of the play, but Atlanta United 2 going to try and maintain the ball similar to what they did in Tampa, and Charleston's going to have to come out and try and control this. But you've got the veteran players out here for Charleston who can definitely cause problems for Atlanta United 2. It's going to be especially important for these young players to get that second ball, win your duels if you're Atlanta United 2, but just as importantly, you're going to want to make sure, it looks like the foul going the other way there. Jackson Conway whistled for the foul. If you're Atlanta United 2, even if you don't get a hold of, if you don't get a hold of the ball in the air, you want to be there for the second ball because that's where Charleston can hurt you, especially with a guy like Guerra up top.
They called Conway for the collision with O'Brien Woodbine, and Kyle Nelson couldn't keep control of that one, so it's going to be a throw now for Mikey Ambrose. And fans, as another reminder, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, the USL Academy. It allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy.
Playing with a little bit of fire, Atlanta United 2 is right there. Dacus had to bail out that ball that was not really struck very hard, getting back to him. Ends up turning into a long ball. Jackson Conway had to chase it down, putting in more of that leg work.
Kuzminski, Nelson. The joust was won by the Stripes, and it's going to end up back with Mikey Ambrose as Guerra's now in pursuit.
Bellows picking himself up off the ground, looks to be just fine.
Brendan Moore looking for a little outlet and a partner, finds it in Campbell, a little back and forth. Sharp ball just to get it out of trouble and away from Atula Guerra, but nicely done there. Hernandez trying to get out of the jam, gets around Dante Marini.
This right here is where it gets really dangerous for a Charleston team that wants to press. Now you start to see the numbers and you start to see that back line get stretched a little bit.
Kratz and Fernando, but Jared Van Schaik is there. It looked like Fernando was looking for either Bashti or Metcalf. Neither were close, and it ends up back with Charleston halfway through minute 18.
And Charleston can face the same problems as Atlanta United too, as they start getting forward. If they get stretched out too far, you don't really want to get into a track meet if you can help it.
Nico Rittmeyer, Nelson on the overlap, pulls it back. Ta'anunga with the big switch to Jared Van Schaik. A lot of space for Jared Van Schaik to run. Bashti now in pursuit. Metcalf and Bashti using the touchline as an extra defender there. The flick ends up nicely done Back to Higashi, who tries to cut inside the area. Captain Jack will get rid of it and get out of there.
Higashi's such a technical player, one of the the tradition of what you think about of a player of his size. Very quick first touch, can get inside, can be really dangerous inside the box in those tight spaces, either by getting by you or you stick a foot out there, you might not get the ball, you might get him.
Dacus just gets rid of it there to slow things down for the Battery just a little bit, halfway through minute 19. Battery will throw it in.
Don't forget to post your selfie here.
Van Shake from Mueller couldn't quite control it, but Dante Marini is there. Guerra, nicely done, drop to Van Shake.
Bashi stepped up there to take that ball away. Guerra was looking for the ball coming right back to him down the lane.
Angelo Kelly will send it back. Didn't have any ideas. Bashti was marking, so he sends it back to Woodbine, and they'll reset with Marini. Guerra looking to drive on Metcalf. Thinks again about it. Van Shake and Marini again. Tried to flick it in, knocked immediately back out. There's Woodbine. Van Shake with the chip, sends it in with the left.
Offside.
Flags up.
It's an interesting look tonight for the Charleston Battery, though, because you do have Atula Guerra up top. You have Katara Higashi. On the bench, however, you have the Kraken. You have Svanteson, all 6'6" of him, sitting on that bench, who can be a handful. And not only a handful with just the physical
More
size.
than just a
brings.
handful at 6'6".
Yeah. I mean, but he's a couple hands full. But a set-piece weapon for sure, but he can play with the ball at his feet. That's going to be an option later in the game if things stick the way they are.
Kratz, Metcalf, Campbell. Trying to turn on Higashi. Higashi will not let that happen. Back to Brendan Moore.
It's another reason you miss Leland Archer for the same reason. Archer about 6'4", 6'5". It's the same kind of thing. It's a set-piece weapon against a young team as it's a pretty ball played out towards George Bell on the left-hand side.
Conway inside the box looking to drive on Nelson. He can't do it, so he ends up trying to flick it through the gate. Mueller is there. He'll send it back outside the area. And Guerra looks to turn. Dacus is there. Well kept in by Atula Guerra.
Box jumped him. That was impressive.
No whistle there. They're going to let this one go. And the bench for Charleston's wanting something to happen, and nothing did. Possession a little back and forth, and it's just calmed down now finally. Back with Atlanta United 2 with Dacus and Campbell near center circle.
Veterans in the midfield taking care of things, even the younger players as well, recognizing that when things are getting just choppy in the middle there, you're kind of in the middle third, you run into that little issue there. And taking a look at the MLS team, Atlanta United up in Cincinnati. No score through the 19th minute.
Obviously, we'll keep up to date on that because of the implications it has for Atlanta United in the Eastern Conference. The parent club in schedule compression, just like the twos. Angelo Kelly looking to go. And they're going to call a foul on Jose Hernandez. I guess that falls under block or charge, and they called block on Jose Hernandez that time.
Well, he didn't have his feet set.
Okay.
I trust the Carolinas to know that.
There's another look, and there it is.
Hernandez just steps in the path there, blows the whistle, no cards.
First personal foul on the night for Hernandez, I guess, right?
First personal.
Okay. Possession back with Charleston here. Early minute 23. The goal by Luis Fernando in the 10th on a beautiful piece of work. Putting the Stripes up 1-0.
Really well read there by George Bell. Stayed in front of his man as he is able to keep Nico Riedmeier from getting in on goal there.
You see Angelo Kelly, 21 for the Battery in the white kit. You see Kyle Nelson, number 3, looking to press over there on that near side, near the touchline, to try to get possession and turn something quickly. Didn't quite work. It's going to stick with the Stripes.
Yeah, it's not going to be an all-out press for Charleston either. It's going to be an opportunistic press, if you want to call it that, where they're going to be looking not necessarily just to play, insane, that Red Bull style you might be used to seeing, a Red Bulls 2 style you might be used to seeing. It's going to be more of looking to pick your opportunities when to press. If Atlanta's in the corner like that, and a great throw-in opportunity here for Jackson Conway.
And a great defensive play there by O.B. Woodbine to make sure that Jackson Conway didn't have a chance for the second goal for the Stripes here in minute 24.
Woodbine can pick him up and put him down, and there got the inside edge on Conway, got it cleared out of there. A great job, very good awareness from Jack Metcalf, getting that throw in to Jackson Conway, who made the throw early.
It's our first Creature Comforts corner kick of the evening. So it looks like Mikey Ambrose will take this one with the left.
The left-footed Kevin Kratz.
And then when 32 takes him, we call him a right-footed Mikey Ambrose?
I mean, after some of the free kicks Mikey put in last year for Atlanta United too, why not?
Sin inside the 6, headed up into the air. Kuzminski looking for it. It goes over the bar. And it's going to be goal kick, it looks like, for the Battery. At least that's what we're looking at. But it
far corner.
Also overruled as Natalie Simon sits there and says it's another Creature Comforts corner kick, this time over on the other side.
It was like trying to hit Jackson Conway on the front there, see if he could flick it back into the mess or back on goal, but defended well.
A lot of those white kits for the Battery inside the 6, inside the area, looking at Campbell, looking at Dacus, looking at Mikey Ambrose, sent in with the right boot and tried to volley toward the net. Did not happen for Wesley Dacus, and so that's going to be a goal kick. And let's take a peek at how we did get to 1-0 back in minute number 10.
Well, it's a great ball. It's a great recovery, and then Luis Fernando gets on top of it, steps over, does a great job getting to his right. The keeper comes out for it, does his job. Just Luis Fernando just executed.
Van Schaik with Boschti in pursuit. Goes back to Taylor Mueller. And he'll go back to Kuzminski, who will reset. Conway with pressure, and then you see Hernandez and Boschti working their way up the middle of the pitch. Almost trying to double team Angelo Kelly. Prevent an outlet for Kuzminski here. So Kuzminski will just end up sending it long middle third, looking for Nelson. Wins the header. Rittmeyer back and forth. Guerra, Campbell on him. Nelson does a nice job to save that one from going out. Now you get 3 Stripes kids defending very, very quickly, but Ta'anunga is there, and Taylor Mueller will just send it forward.
And Guerra trying to move around to find chances. That ball is going to stay. He's onside.
And in. And we are tied at 1 just like that. Nico Rittmeyer takes advantage of an opportunity. Saw kind of an in-between hop. You had Atlanta United 2 defenders trying to figure out who was going to mark Nico Rittmeyer. Rittmeyer takes advantage, and in the 26th minute, we're tied at 1.
Doesn't look horribly dissimilar from what we saw in Tampa Bay last week with Atlanta United 2. A bouncing ball on the right-hand side. Nico just gets to it. Campbell tries to close him down, but he gets it off just in time. Beats more near post.
You see Mikey Ambrose chasing. Dacus is behind. George Campbell gets there, tries to disrupt the shot as best he can from Rittmeyer with the shoulder. Doesn't happen, so Rittmeyer gets the goal, and we are now tied at 1 apiece.
So new life for Charleston Battery, and here you go now. Starting to try and create more opportunities here. A little bit of heavy touch by Wesley Dacus there. Atlanta United 2's got to settle things down.
First goal of the year for Nico Rittmeyer could not have come at a better time for the Batteries. They're trying to chase the playoff bar in the Eastern Conference. We showed you just how jammed it is at 9, 10, and 11 with St. Louis, Birmingham, and Charleston. And Charleston really needs full points every opportunity going in. And with the schedule that they've had, there have been some missed opportunities, and they haven't been able to do it, trying to chase it tonight. Atula Guerra.
Atlanta trying to force somebody other than Atula Guerra to beat them 1v1.
Marini back out to Van Schaik. Thought about it with the left, pulls it back to Angelo Kelly. Tries to work the big diagonal, headed down nicely, but it was intended for Brendan Moore. Didn't get there, so it's going to be a corner kick for Charleston.
And this right here is where you want to take advantage of your opportunities if you're Charleston. You don't necessarily have the Kraken out there in Svantesson, but you're still a dangerous side to be dealt with these set pieces.
So let's see what Dante Marini has in mind with this corner. Charleston coming into tonight winless in their last 4 on the road, trying to turn that fortune around tonight. a chance where they can get closer to 9th, 10th, and 11th, and it looks like it's going to go to the stripes there after the idea was missed.
Yeah, a little bit too far out of the side of the box there. Wasn't able to get up on it, and I guess try and push it back into the mixer there. Unable to do so there, so missed opportunity for Charleston. Now you got to get back settled in on defense as Atlanta United 2 starts pushing down the field.
Kratz and Bello. Big switch from Kratz, nicely done. And the turn. Boschti in the middle of it all. Tries to send it to Jackson Conway, who tries a 360 at the top of the box. Metcalf is available, sends it into the 6. Knocked away nicely by Kuzminski. Big tackle by Angelo Kelly just outside the box. Set piece chance for Atlanta United 2, and it's going to be a card coming out for Angelo Kelly there on the tackle of Kevin Kratz.
Well, what good clearance work by Charleston to get that out of there in the first place. Kratz gets there. Kelly tries to get there. Nothing malicious about it from Kelly, just trying to clear the ball out of there.
Let's take a look at the end of the play.
Takes a deflection. Conway with a great spin to get free. Plays it off with Metcalf. Metcalf lashes it. Gets blocked there, and it's got to be hard to track that ball through the bodies there. You see Kelly commit the foul, just trying to get that ball cleared out and save his team. Looks like you're going to have Ambrose and Kratz stamping over this. Two guys who can strike a dead ball with either foot.
Natalie Simon marking off the 10. So let's see what happens here. Is it Ambrose 22, Kratz 32? 5-man wall, 3 others outstretched, and it's Kratz who just missed.
Not sure if Kuzminski had it covered. Looked like he was going to be in good shape for it. But seeing as Kuzminski commits a little bit to the left there, but not enough to really trouble him. You see him take that hop step to the left, and he's getting back. Oh, that would have been interesting to see to put that on frame if Kuzminski can get a hand to it or not.
Minute 31, Charleston with the equalizer from Nico Rittmeyer 5 minutes ago in the 26th after Luis Fernando got a goal in the 10th to make it 1-0. And that's how we end up right now at 1-1 at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. And another foul call, this time as Kitaro Higashi was trying to get something done for the Battery, and a whistle there on Ambrose.
Ambrose just goes through him in the back there. Nothing too terrible with it. May get a weathered eye after a while and get a wayward eye, but that's going to be about it there.
Ta Anunga with the big switch to Van Schaik. Back and forth with Angelo Kelly. Big sweep with the left, trying to get Higashi forward, and it was too much. Brendan Moore there easily for the Stripes.
That's what we talked about with Moore, is making sure that he's commanding. That ball comes in like that. Don't be sitting back on the line the entire time. You got to find that balance, though, between being assertive in your box without being reckless.
Moore on the season 4-2-1 with the goals against of 143. Gets through Angelo Kelly, and that is too much for Metcalf. And just so.
Kratz, you see the veteran players, they're keeping their heads up immediately, trying to get back on defense, because Charleston, in that situation, be looking for the guy who might be walking back, might be looking up at the clouds, might be checking the lights.
Van Schaik will go all the way back to Kuzminski. To settle it down for the reset, he'll give to Mueller. Center circle, looking for Marini. Look at George Campbell jumping into the play.
It's very Miles Robinson of him, and Campbell's in that same kind of vein where there's another free kick for Atlanta United, too, in a good position.
Mueller kind of goes through Jackson Conway, as Conway was trying to do something offensively for the Stripes once he was to get control of it. But Mueller goes through him, and it's going to be a set piece. Probably you're looking about 28. Let's take another peek at what Jackson Conway had in mind.
Well, it's a good ball there to Conway in step. Tries to shield off, and he goes down. Mueller just gives him a bit of a push down there. Veteran on a young player.
And once again, you've got Ambrose 22 and Kratz 32 looking at it. 4-man wall straight up for the Battery. Kratz right on.
Kuzminski had it measured nicely there. Saw it come over the wall, stayed right behind it. Good, strong catch.
Tune into ESPN3 on September the 18th at 7:30 Eastern for a potential Eastern Conference playoff preview, and one of the league's top defenses in St. Louis FC welcomes high-powered Red Bulls 2 to the Lou. It is September the 18th during Wednesday Night Soccer, ESPN 3, St. Louis and Red Bulls 2.
We'll take another look at this. Bends a little bit, not as much as he wanted to, trying to put it in that top corner. It starts out in the middle there, bends a bit, but Kosminski, again, has it measured very nicely, has a good line of sight on it.
They're going to call a foul once again on the clash of heads there. Foul on Mikey Ambrose.
Starting to pick up the
going after with
physicality.
Rittmeyer about it.
Yeah.
So let's take another look at Rittmeyer and Mikey Ambrose on the joust.
It looks like he caught Rittmeyer in the back of the head there, both trying to go for the header. It's two in quick succession for Mikey Ambrose. Maybe the card might be getting a little closer to yellow. Not quite there yet, though.
You've got Ta Anunga, Jared Van Schaik looking it over from 25, 26 or so. Ta does a grounder, and it's right on to Brendan Moore.
Not going to trouble Moore too much there. He has it measured, gets down in front of it, keeps his hands behind him. No problems there.
Bashti. Hernandez. Mikey Ambrose. That's been one of the more intriguing matchups that we've seen tonight in one-on-one competition with Nico Rittmeyer going up against Mikey Ambrose so far tonight.
It has been, and Mikey Ambrose is asked to do a lot, and he's a guy who has shown in the past that he can do a lot at this level and at the MLS level. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes along throughout the night. The other side of the field also gets interesting. Pittsburgh really picked on the Charleston battery going down the other side, where you see Jack Metcalf, where you've seen Luis Fernando play at times as Atlanta's trying to play out of pressure. They'll get a throw-in out of it, but
big
catch their breath.
pursuit there by the press of Charleston. Dante Marini came crashing in to try to intercept from Metcalf. Hits Marini last, so it'll be a stripes throw.
Well, like we talked about, I mean, Charleston, they're going to press, but they're going to pick their spots. They're not going to press wildly. They're going to pick their spots where they think they can be most effective.
More action at the far touch from Marini and Van Schaik as they were going after the ball from Jackson Conway. Captain Jack will throw it in again. Bashti offers. Luis Fernando offered and ended up getting a forearm right in the face from Ta Anunga, no call. Center circle, Taylor Mueller. In his 205th appearance for the Charleston Battery.
It feels like it's been more than that.
Nice
Pretty
idea.
ball.
Nelson on the overlap. Defended well that time. George Bello getting back. Looks like it's going to be a Charleston Battery corner. And Dante Marini looks like he's going to be the one to take it here on the near side.
I'll see if they change up from last time. Played that corner to the top of the box last time. Looking to try and head it back into the mix. We'll see what Marini does to this one.
Higashi offering short. Luis Fernando, the closest to mark, sent in toward the edge of the six. Defended easily, but back out on the diagonal, and the Battery will try it again.
This is the situation if you're Atlanta United 2 with this back line, those sorts of breaks where you would love to have a guy like Bienveni Kanakimana if he was not on national team duty with Burundi, a guy who can just pick him up and put him down, eats up the turf with each step on those counter opportunities.
Woodbine, big switch. Nicely done to keep it in. Here's Rittmeyer. Dacus on him. Back out to Ta Anunga. Sent in with the right. Deflected out. Rittmeyer was there. Bello is there trying to get away from Nico.
Find the ball. Find the ball.
Chips it forward. Nicely done to get out of a jam to Kevin Kratz.
Kratz now gets it over to Fernando, and now we can see Atlanta try and break Metcalf coming hard down this right-hand side.
Fernando. Kelly was on him, so he pulls it back, and Atlanta United 2, once again wanting to just settle down and get possession and get things working their way. Campbell. Marini on him. Dacus. Had a little bit of room, found Metcalf. Captain Jack looking to spring Jackson Conway too much, and Joe Kosminski will get there.
And Conway's looking for that ball to go down and get it, see if he can hold up play a bit, and see if he can let players run onto it.
Throw to Van Schaik. Woodbine lets it go through. Bashti in pursuit. Kosminski's got to get rid of it, and he does. Just back and forth with Woodbine. Dangerous touch there off of the side of his boot. Dacus missed the joust there as it ends up in the attacking third for Charleston. Campbell controls back to Brendan Moore.
Closing on halftime now. It's still 1-1. You want to see if somebody can really make something stand up here right before you get to halftime. Of course, you want to go into halftime with that positive momentum, but you also don't want to get too far forward where you end up being the one who gets gut punched. It's just this balancing act.
So let's see who does their best Walenda family impression here for the final couple of minutes. Looks like they're going to call a foul on Atula Guerra as Wesley Dacus tried to possess.
Dacus goes down there. Guerra with the light foul. Nothing too major there. It did take him down a bit. It's not called there. Guerra's in on goal, and he might still be walking in on goal.
Yep. Campbell and Dacus as we start minute number 40. Luis Fernando with the goal in the 10th. Nico Rittmeyer, the goal in the 26th. And that's how we end up at 1-1. I'll give you the update on the rest of the East and the West at the half. There are some of the teams that are above Charleston who are in action, and teams below who can once again, like Atlanta United 2, act spoiler as well. The flag's up, so it is going to be offside and heading back the other way.
And Conway's a little bit offside there. That ball goes in the air.
Van Schaik, Metcalf on him. Does it stay in? Yes, it does. Nicely done. Dante Marini gives to Guerra. Guerra pulls it back with a lot of Stripes kits in front of him. Van Schaik is there. Marini looking to drive. He'll cut it inside. Back to Angelo Kelly. Kratz on him. Woodbine. Mueller with room. Closed down quickly by Jackson Conway. Bashti was on Ta'anunga. Nico Rittmeyer. Can't miss Nico because he's got 13. I don't know a whole lot of 13 kits out here, but Nico's got space.
That right there was what you wanted to see from Atlanta United 2, where the ball bounced around there, and it was George Bello kind of poking it out to stop that first attack. Now you're going to have to do it again, though. You're going to have to keep having those moments where you're winning to that second ball.
Rittmeyer all the way over to the other side from where we're used to seeing him so far tonight. Marini and back to Woodbine, and he'll go back to Mueller for another opportunity. Ta'anunga tries to get Nelson going. Nicely done to defend there by George Bello.
Well, Nelson's got to step on George Bello when they start from the same spot, but Bello's done a really good job of handling him so far. Great tackle there, kept his balance to get it cleared out, but now Charleston right back on the attack.
Higashi and Anunga. Marini wants to go with the left over everything and wide left. With just weeks remaining, the pressure's officially on. Tune into ESPN 3 on October 2nd, 10 o'clock Eastern time, as El Paso Locomotive look to secure one of the final playoff spots as a first-year team. Fresno FC has its sights set on hosting some playoff matches. It's Locomotive FC and the Foxes, October 2nd, 10 o'clock Eastern for Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN 3. Halfway through minute 42, don't anticipate a whole lot of stoppage time here in the first 45 minutes.
Nice move by Bosch to create a bit of space here.
Can he find Metcalf? Thought about it. Second time through, he finally does. Van Schaik is there to guard. Luis Fernando nicely done there on Obi Woodbine.
Tries to dribble through two guys. They're just unable to do it. But you can see immediately they started closing him down, not trying to let him get a half step of space.
Higashi has to come all the way back to help out. Nicely done there by Kratz to keep Dante Marini from pushing forward. So Marini will have a throw here in the middle third. Good to see that out here tonight for the Stripes. Giving the update from Cincinnati on the first team. They are in the 41st minute, and they are still scoreless at Nippert Stadium against FC Cincinnati.
It looks better when I zoom in, but it kind of still.
Back to Brendan Moore here. At the half, we'll take a peek at the Team of the Week, Player of the Week in the USL Championship. Take a look at first half stats and highlights and everything else going on as the regular season is coming to a close. Would have sworn that this season just started, and now we're only a handful of games away from it finishing up in the middle of October as everybody heads toward the playoffs and determining the USL Championship champion for this year. Kevin Kratz. Big right. Available. Bello at the elbow. Looking to go on Nelson. In with the left. Kuzminski is there.
Strong hands by Kuzminski hanging onto that ball. Bello put his laces behind that ball, and you see Jackson Conway flashing right there as he is absolutely looking to try and just redirect it in there and get that goal right before the half.
Let's take another peek. What do you see?
See a great ball from Bello to get him free in the first place. Gets in on that left-handed foot. Kuzminski just snags it out of the air nicely. Conway a step behind him.
All the way back to Moore for another reset for Atlanta United 2. Folks drifting back past Ta Anunga, and Ambrose with space. He'll chip it forward looking for Bello. Bello looking for Luis Fernando and just missed him.
The ball is going to roll out. It's hard to stay in it. Thought about it.
And fans, you can continue to enjoy the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. The USL is excited to announce that the championship in League One will remain with the leader in sports for 3 more years. ESPN Plus will continue to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 matches a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks, including 9 matches on ESPN Deportes. Continue to follow, support, and watch your club on ESPN and ESPN Plus.
Redmeyer picks up the foul there, slams his hand on the ground, gets a talking to. No card there. Just a solid talking to there as he trips up a player coming through the box there as Charleston trying to get right back on the attack.
Hernandez. Ambrose. And the number on the board is 1 minute. Not a surprise. They got 1 minute added on to what we've done so far here in the first 45. Kratz overlapping. Tried to get it from Luis Fernando. And it's going to be a goal kick for Joe Kuzminski, and he's going to take as much time as humanly possible to reintroduce the ball.
So we've seen George Bello now twice get involved in the attack there, and a lot of it has to do with Kyle Nelson stepping up. You wonder how much of that we're going to see on both sides as guys start to get forward up the field. Who takes advantage of it? We've seen Nelson beat Bello with just the pace, and we've seen Bello come back at Nelson and dribble at him. Is one of them going to get too far up the field? Is that going to be a difference maker?
Kuzminski forward, settled down. It's going to end up with the battery center circle. Angelo Kelly. Van Shake behind. Higashi. And over to Dante Marini. And that'll do it. The whistle from Natalie Simon calls an end to the first 45 minutes. And after the first 45, what do you know from what we've seen?
What we've seen is we've seen 2 teams come out here and do what they want to do. Atlanta United 2 got on the front foot. They scored the goal early through Luis Fernando. And then you see Charleston get their opportunity through a long ball, a little bit of miscommunication by Atlanta United 2, and just raw hustle from Nico Riddenmeyer putting the ball in the back of the net.
And what we will do is we will take a break. We'll show you how we got to 1-1, but a lot of action, a lot of news coming up around the corner. It's Atlanta United 2 in the Battery, tied at 1, stick and stay. Halftime right around the corner.
Name before you did. I knew your fears, your hopes. I knew what you could accomplish, how great you could be. And I knew just where to take you when you got hurt.
You'll be back out there in no time.
For physical therapists and certified athletic trainers who only work with young athletes, there's Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine. Moms know.
There are never enough hours in the day, so you can't let sniffles, strep, or aches and pains slow you down. But finding great healthcare that fits your schedule can be tricky. With Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, you can get great same-day care right around the corner. There are 27 locations and counting, all with extended hours and most open 7 days a week. You can book an appointment online to get in, out, and on your way. Visit piedmont.org/quickcare now to learn more. Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, one stop to better.
Los accidentes suceden sin avisar y conseguir el tratamiento médico que usted o un familiar merece puede resultar difícil si no cuenta con la ayuda de un buen abogado. Por eso nos dedicamos a pelear por sus derechos, asegurándonos que usted no solo reciba la compensación que merece, sino que también reciba la mejor atención médica. Le atendemos en español. 404-888-8888. Bader Law Firm, comprometidos con usted y su familia.
I knew your name before you did. I knew your fears, your hopes. I knew what you could accomplish, how great you could be. And I knew just where to take you when you got hurt.
You'll be back out there in no time.
For physical therapists and certified athletic trainers who only work with young athletes, there's Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine. Moms know.
I would count the number of sprinklers, and I think 3, 6, 9, 12. It looks like 18 of them are going right now. Atlanta United 2, Charleston Battery tied at 1. They're watering the pitch, getting ready for the second 45 minutes. Been a very exciting first 45. We'll let you know what's going on with the highlights and stats and all that stuff just around the corner. But there's a lot of action going on in the USL Championship, matches on the ESPN family of networks. Here's what's going on in the championship in League One.
Hilton goes charging through, has to go! And what a strike it is from the... Oh, that's sensational! Hilton goes charging through, has to go! And what a strike it is from the... Oh, that's sensational! Oh, what a strike! Saved by Bettleson! With one touch to settle, and now it's five at the top of the net. Black stays down, and Indy 11 has a one. Ball struck towards the 18, headed on, and headed home.
Inside glancing header, and he caps it off with the goal of the night.
I think they want dangerous play call. That one served in the back of the net. Fresno out of nowhere.
Milton serves it into the back post. It's off the woodwork and it's in.
That's in the back of the net. Another cross into the corner, and Hubbard does even better.
Moberg's gonna take a shot on goal with a cross and a fantastic save.
Good shot for Blackwood. Nice play by Van Oekel
To force him to give the ball up.
Illich saved.
Curls and scores! Oh, Seguro!
Moshobani again. Back heel Moshobani! He did it again!
Whips it in, finds the back post! Oh, what a finish! Arturo Rodriguez! Through ball though. Demas the other way. Demas saved by Hara.
In the middle, still Jaden Nelson. His shot, it's saved again by Giuliano Chache.
Wide open. Fitzgerald covering the mark. Still Rodriguez and stopped by Fitzgerald.
And Jared, you want to talk about one of the craziest races to finish is USL League One. We're going to keep an eye on that one as well. Here's what's going on right now, and one of these scores on this grid is bad news for Charleston. Ottawa and Tampa, they are goalless. They started a half hour ahead of everybody else. Loudon and Bethlehem are below the playoff bar, but that one low left is bad news.
That one low left is bad news for Charleston in terms of more opportunities to get into the playoffs. St. Louis starting to distance themselves a bit from New York Red Bulls, too, who have secured a playoff spot.
Fresno and Rio Grande Valley is the late game, 10:30 Eastern time for the West. And here's what's going on out west, and we have a new kid on the block in San Diego.
San Diego with a familiar name involved, John. Landon Donovan's involved out there for San Diego, beginning play in 2020.
The EVP for USL San Diego is Landon Donovan. Phoenix. I think that probably what we should have just done here in the Phoenix thing is just put like 20 W's on that first line.
Can they put that many W's in there? I am curious. And how many of them have a beer night associated with them?
All of them, pretty much. But then when we see what's going on in the East, two teams. These are the first two that are in.
New York and Indianapolis clinching there. Pittsburgh is right on their heels. That result that you saw last week against Charleston helping them out a lot.
And then the West, just so you know, 4th to 14th is separated by all of 8 points. Danny Musovsky, the player of the week, and when we look at the team of the week, there's a lot of Western influence this time around, but Reno really, and the Western Conference has a lot of Western folks on it. You look, Musovsky, Martinez, and a familiar face upper right.
Hey, look at that. Sandoval, who spent some time at Atlanta United too last year, really finding his legs out there.
And Devin Sandoval trying to lead New Mexico United to their first ever playoff run in their first ever season. We are tied at the break. We'll set you up for the second half when we come back. Stats, highlights, and stuff. The official term, stick and stay. We'll be right back.
There are enough hours in the day, so you can't let sniffles, strep, or aches and pains slow you down. But finding great healthcare that fits your schedule can be tricky. With Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, you can get great same-day care right around the corner. There are 27 locations and counting, all with extended hours and most open 7 days a week. You can book an appointment online to get in, out, and on your way. Visit piedmont.org/quickcare now to learn more. Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, one stop to better.
Los accidentes suceden sin avisar y conseguir el tratamiento médico que usted o un familiar merece puede resultar difícil si no cuenta con la ayuda de un buen abogado. Por eso nos dedicamos a pelear por sus derechos, asegurándonos que usted no solo reciba la compensación que merece, sino que también reciba la mejor atención médica. Le atendemos en español. 404-888-8888. Bader Law Firm, comprometidos con usted y su familia.
I knew your name before you did. I knew your fears, your hopes. I knew what you could accomplish, how great you could be. And I knew just where to take you when you got hurt.
You'll be back out there in no time.
For physical therapists and certified athletic trainers who only work with young athletes, there's Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine. Moms know.
There are never enough hours in the day, so you can't let sniffles, strep, or aches and pains slow you down. But finding great healthcare that fits your schedule can be tricky. With Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, you can get great same-day care right around the corner. There are 27 locations and counting, all with extended hours and most open 7 days a week. You can book an appointment online to get in, out, and on your way. Visit piedmont.org/quickcare now to learn more. Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, one stop to better.
Welcome back here to Fifth Third Bank Stadium, tied at 1s at the break. And the question is, how did we get to this particular moment in time? Let's find out by taking a peek at the first half highlights. Jarrett, it was an entertaining first half on a bunch of different fronts.
Yeah, you see Atlanta United 2 get on top of things early. A turnover, Luis Fernando gets it. Little step over, little scoop, little finish, and a goal for Atlanta United 2 to get things going. Whoop, steps to the right.
And up and over Joe Kuzminski. That was in the 10th minute. That made it 1-0. And then Nico Rittmeyer.
Nico Rittmeyer just out-hustles everybody there. Gets on the end of it, takes a good first touch off of his chest. As you see him, a little bit of touch there. George Campbell's trying to get over, but then he still gets the ball post side, short side, past Moore.
And that's how we end up at 1-1 here at the break. Here's the first half stats. This is what we see. What do we know?
What do we know right now is that we're in a 1-1 game where Charleston needs points. As it stands right now, if this holds, Charleston moves up into a playoff spot on goal differential, but they don't want to leave it to that. So you wonder how much Charleston's going to commit forward. They're going to be looking for that early second goal. How much does Atlanta United 2 commit forward? We saw at the end of the half there, you see George Bello starting to find a bit of room to get forward. Is he able to find more getting forward? Is Charleston able to make changes? Who pulls the trigger on the changes? When do they do it? What changes do they make? Who pulls the right string?
And one of those might be Andrew Carlton, who's out there warming out on the pitch right now. You see him there on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's take a peek at what's left for the two teams here tonight. Charleston schedule compression, and they wait only a few days before they have to go back home to play North Carolina FC. What else do you see?
I see a game against a Red Bulls 2 team that is already in the playoffs but can still give you plenty of trouble as you go up to New York. That Birmingham Legion game, how big is that going to be?
Huge at this point.
It looks like that could be the game. If you told me that game decides who goes to the playoffs and who stays home, I'd believe it.
October 13th, Loudoun United at home. Memphis 901, October 16th. And they've got one more match after that. For the Stripes, on the flip side of this, that's it. That's all that's left after tonight.
It feels crazy. I think it's because it's still so hot in Atlanta. We still think it's summer, even though it's middle of September. You know, Indy 11 comes to town. Then you go to St. Louis. You go to Pittsburgh, face a tough team.
Defense for those two aways.
Yes, and you expect Pittsburgh to be in the playoffs by then. And
Bethlehem Steel should be one that should be here for the home finale on the 9th of October. Then you finish up at Nashville on the 19th. So 10 days after your penultimate match and the last match. Stephen Glass is going after Andrew Carleton and seeing what's going on. So when we start with keys to the match, and you had your ideas. As we head toward the second 45, let's revisit. So I guess we're rekeying what's going on here with these 2x2s. Compare your notes, and what do you see?
This is basically seeing how well those takes aged at this point. Atlanta United 2 has played pretty clean for the most part, mentally sharp. They've had a couple moments where it's been a ball bouncing in the box, and somebody hasn't claimed it or more hasn't come off his line, and it's made you go just a little bit there. If you're Charleston, you wanted to strike early. You didn't. You got struck early. It went against you, but you took advantage of the opportunity, which is the second point. Nico Rittenmeyer just out hustling people, getting on the end of the ball, putting a shot on frame hard, and, look at that. There is Andrew Carleton.
Hello.
Bibs off.
30 in the Stripes kid. Wondering when he's going to be checking in. Is it immediately to start things off here for the second 45? And he is poised right at the center line. So the answer to that is going to be yes. You see Mike Anhauser there. You see the guys for Atlanta United 2 getting ready for the second 45. But the first question I have is, what is Stephen Glass thinking with Andrew Carleton getting ready to come in and have that 3-0 in red flashed on the big board?
Now, you do have options formationally if you're Atlanta United, too. You can change things up. You've got the guys to go forward the back if you want to. It just depends on who you want to pull out in this situation to bring in an Andrew Carleton. So we will see how that shakes out. Looks like it. Looking at the count the bodies on the pitch, looks like it's going to be Amir Bashti by process of elimination.
So it looks like it is going to be Amir Bashti putting in 45 and Andrew Carleton putting in the second 45. So I know that we can sit here and look at Bashti's speed and his development, and we've seen some good development in the small sample size that we've had with Amir Bashti, but you have the experience and really the special touches that we've seen from AC that we can get. Last time out against Ottawa, we ran it in the open. 16 seconds, the game was turned on its head.
Hey, you want a hot hand? That's a hot hand right there. And it's a guy who, Andrew Carleton has been a bit up and down, but when he's up, there's not many like him, especially at his age, and he can turn a game on its head. He can hit a ball that you don't expect anyone else on that field to hit. That's what you're asking for right here if you're Stephen Glass, giving your young player, your young homegrown, a chance to get a run out. Let's see how it goes, John.
Get you ready for the second 45. We are now underway. The rest of the bench for Stephen Glass and Atlanta United 2. Laurent Kisiadou, and this is attacking players. Laurent Kisiadou, Lawrence White, Patrick Okonkwo, Kevin Barajas, and Guillermo Benitez. It's Atlanta United 2 and Charleston Battery tied at 1s here in the second half. Alongside Jarrett Smith, I am John Nelson. Thanks for accessing us however you are doing so here at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in suburban Atlanta. Big matchup in the Eastern Conference for both of these teams as Atlanta United 2 continues to work their way through the Eastern Conference schedule. Could be a big spoiler tonight if they end up with full points. Charleston needing full points, especially with the score that we saw at halftime with St. Louis leading Red Bulls in the 31st minute as we're talking 1-0. So St. Louis, if they get full points against Red Bulls 2, gives them some distance in that 9, 10, and 11 and forces Charleston to focus on what's going on in front of them with Birmingham Legion. And you've got the parent club going on at halftime. They are goalless at Nippert Stadium. We'll keep you up to date on that one, as well as Andrew Carleton tried to get Captain Jack going here in the second minute of the second half.
And you saw right there, Carlton trying to bring the ball down to the box, trying to create something there. Good job staying home defensively for Charleston there to limit that opportunity. You talk about St. Louis. It's not that St. Louis winning is the thing that ruins the Charleston battery. It just takes away an option here. If this is a multiple choice test, well, D just got eliminated if St. Louis keeps picking up points, because that's one less spot that you can look at and say, we can go get that spot.
And you're trying to keep it away from being C, which is usually none of the above. And if all else fails, you want to hit B on the bubble, right?
I was always taught to hit C.
I was always hit to hit B.
Well, times change.
You ain't kidding, brother. Jared Van Schaik, you have Charleston in their white kits, Atlanta United 2 in their stripes. Here in the second half, you see Charleston going from right to left across your screen, and the stripes working their way from left to right.
That's a little bit of footwork there from Hernandez. He might have picked up a little bit of a knock there. He's limping on that left foot.
I think he got something on the way by. Yeah, George Bello at the elbow was pushing his way through, trying to get chipped, and Joe Kosminski gets there and spills it. Ends up back on top of it. So here comes Charleston, and Jose Hernandez is still kind of feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, he is. He's favoring it just a little bit there. Great job by Kosminski coming out and claiming that ball bravely off of George Bello's foot. Spills it a little bit, but no one there to cause problems.
Looks like they're going to call Bello there as Rittmeyer went up and over. Let's take a peek at what happened last time down.
Bello's going to pick up a yellow there for sending him over the tea kettle. And Bello just charges in here. Kosminski gets out there, gets hands to it, knocks it away enough. And all of a sudden there you're looking at Kosminski picking up a loose ball with a chance to set the break. So really good job there. Bello does pick up that yellow card there as he goes high and low there on the defender.
Angelo Kelly picked up the yellow for Charleston that we've seen so far in the 29th minute. So now one yellow per each. And here is a look back at the foul with Bello and Nico Rittmeyer.
Luis Fernando gets involved in the tackle there. Bello tries to stick a foot out there, gets up underneath Nico, and then sends Nico over the top.
Good chip to get Luis Fernando off and
onside.
Going. Look at the closing speed of Obi Woodbine. Cuts it back, right boot. In the middle, Andrew Carlton puts it in. The substitution works after all of 3 minutes. And Andrew Carlton puts a rocket in to give Atlanta United 2 a 2-1 lead.
You wanted to play the hot hand. You played the hot hand. The hot hand pays off again just a couple minutes after the half. Great ball over the top to Luis Fernando. Goes down the left, gets Woodbine on skates, plays it to Carlton, who's trailing. They stick that foot out there. Carlton curls it into the corner. Kosminski's cutting the other way, trying to get back to the middle there. Nothing he can do when Carlton puts it, a little curling shot into the left corner. It's 2-1 Atlanta United 2.
Are you not entertained by Frosted Orange?
I'm entertained. Thoroughly.
4 minutes in, Andrew Carlton strikes. And it's 2-1 Atlanta United 2. AC's 4th goal of the year for Atlanta United 2. Could not have come to snatch momentum away from Charleston at a better time, and he sends off Metcalf now.
Bodies in the box.
And they're going to call Bello from coming in from behind on Rittmeyer, because Rittmeyer got there first, tried to just clear it, and ended up going straight up into the air. And the whistle coming from Natalie Simon.
Did a good job boxing out. Now Atlanta United can get back on defense and get settled right away. That long ball goes to Lagera. And at that point right there, you're looking at George Campbell trying to clear it away, and then Moore's got to play it with his feet. All of a sudden, Charleston can press a bit here because they see the opportunity.
Well done by Luis Fernando trying to move it forward. Taylor Mueller boxes him out nicely. And the man wearing the C gives it a Charleston battery throw.
And now we see how much Charleston can get forward, because now you're in a situation where if you got a point, if you're Charleston, that's not great, but it's not nothing. Now you desperately need to get this thing back level. What does Charleston do? And right now they play good soccer.
Bello called it from Moore. Too much to get it there. Dacus up through the middle. Drift to Kratz. Kratz was looking for Bello. Couldn't get it there the first time, and there's going to be a foul. Looks like it's called on Dacus as Higashi got in the way.
Starting to see players really warming up quickly over on the Charleston sideline.
Let's see what Mike Anhauser has in mind. He's got A.J. Patterson. He's got Vincenzo Candela, Romario Piggott, Zico Lewis, Ian Sfonderson, and Arthur Boswa. So you wonder what Augie's looking at when his substitution pattern is and what he's thinking.
I see Patterson over there, and Pagoa is definitely could not tell who the other player was warming up. But Atlanta United 2 now getting out on the break.
Jackson Conway has Luis Fernando, gets it to him.
He got off.
And the flag is up, so it'll go back to the battery.
They'll have opportunities to break like that as Charleston has to get forward. They have to try and get this game tied up. And it's still just the 51st minute. It's not to say that it's like 10 minutes left. They've got time to do this, and they're going to have to pick their spots carefully because you get too far forward. Atlanta United 2 does have the skill players now, especially on the field with Carlton, and here's the hot hand. What a ball over to Luis Fernando.
Can Luis Fernando get there? He does. Amazing ball from Andrew Carlton to try to get 7 on the loose.
Now you can see Atlanta United 2 kind of settle into things a bit here. See if you can start to pick the lock on the Charleston battery.
Ambrose, Dacus, and back to Brendan Moore. Guerra in pursuit. Ambrose with Higashi on him gives to Campbell. Big switches there. If he can find it to Luis Fernando, he'll go straight down the middle. Bello with Mueller, settled nicely, poked away by Taylor Mueller.
That's expertly done by Mueller. Bello is a really tough matchup for him physically with just the speed. Sticks a foot out there, gets a little bit of a tug, nothing major, just kind of throws Bello off his balance there. Really veteran move. Exactly what you'd want to see from a veteran.
Nelson. Interrupted by Luis Fernando, and here comes Kevin Kratz. Carlton had Metcalf, couldn't quite find him. So now AC will just send it back to Dacus and Ambrose, who has dropped into a bit of a deeper role here ever since the lead was picked up by Atlanta United 2. Here's Bello. Fernando and Kratz towards center circle. Hernandez, big switches there. Van Schaik gets there first, just heads it out of the way, and it will be a throw for the Stripes.
At that point, you're just being responsible, trying to make sure Andrew Carlton doesn't end up with a situation where he's running into that corner with no one on top of him.
Conway fouled just outside the area. Looked like they're going to call that on Obi Woodbine, so it's going to be a set piece at a bit of a difficult angle here as we head toward minute 55.
Yeah, it's a little bit creative here, Atlanta United 2. Not the biggest team in the league by any stretch of the imagination. You can get a little creative with this set piece, though, and where you want to place it. You do have guys who can strike the ball from distance and cause some chaos.
So let's see what we're looking at here. We've got the tall timber for the battery just outside the area, just outside the 6. Luis Fernando, Wesley Dacus, George Campbell, Kratz, Jackson Conway looking like he wants to lurk toward the back post. Taylor Mueller on him.
Carlton there at the top of the box. You can either play it back to him, see if he can make a late run into the box even.
Sent inside, headed George Campbell, deflected. Charleston lucky there, but they've got a chance to break. They just launch it down into center circle. George Bello is there.
Reset it now with Andrew Carlton. He's really found the ball quickly. I mean, goal 3 minutes into his coming on the field, and he's just been staying on the ball ever since. And there were times in his development where it felt like he wasn't able to find the ball always. Early on here, he's been able to find it. A foul there.
Let's take a peek at the last opportunity. There's your header by Campbell, but it hits a Charleston battery kit, gets in the way, and changes the pattern.
Well, if I got to pick a body I'm targeting, George Campbell's that guy.
Nelson, as we're halfway through minute 56, hits it off the outside of his boot, and it's going to be a throw for the Stripes pretty much towards center line. And there's Mikey Ambrose who will bring it in with Dacus and Hernandez. Nelson intercepts as it was headed toward Carlton. Mueller's there, Conway chasing, and they're going to call a foul on Atlanta United 2.
Like it was like Conway there, just clipping at his heels a little bit much.
Ta Anunga looking for Marini. 3 kits for the Stripes were there, so he had to send it back to where it came from. Higashi working his way backward. Angelo Kelly, his idea was deflected by Kratz, settled down by Dacus. And here come the Stripes again with Ambrose and AC.
Had Fernando on the break there, just not able to get his head up to see him, and really didn't probably have much room to pull the trigger on it anyway, but those opportunities are going to be there for Atlanta United too when they play that little combo like you just saw a moment ago with Carlton and Ambrose.
Flick from Guerra to Marini. Ta'anunga looking for space. Good work on the ground right now by Charleston, trying to find the gaps in the Atlanta United 2 defense. Van Schaik trying to spring Angelo Kelly. Dacus gets there, Kelly gets there. What's the call? Looks like it's going to be a corner.
And a broken board.
That can't make one sponsor happy, I'm sure.
Looks like he's okay. Took a tough tumble into that board behind the goal.
I thought you were talking about the board being okay.
Well,
let's take a peek. Angelo Kelly. Up and over. Looks like he got out of it all right. Sent in back post. Nelson looking to get into the air. Metcalf will get there. It's swatted forward by Andrew Carlton. But Woodbine's there for the Battery. Guerra had it at the elbow. Dacus got there since he couldn't maintain control. They're going to call a foul on Guerra as he tried to wipe Dacus out. So as Brendan Moore sends it forward, tune into ESPN3 September 18th at 8 Eastern for a potential Eastern Conference playoff preview. And one of the league's top defenses, St. Louis FC, welcomes Red Bulls 2 to the Lou. See it all September 18th, 8 o'clock Eastern right now. Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN3. And that one right now is in the 43rd minute. St. Louis FC leading Red Bulls 2 by the score of 1-0.
This is a situation for Atlanta United too where you do want to really slow things down, settle things down a bit. Charleston's had possession. Had a few opportunities there. You had the foul a second ago where Dacus gets taken out by Guerra. Guerra's trying to make a play on the ball.
There's your first team update. They're in the 56th at Nippert Stadium. They are still goalless, heading toward the 57th. Atlanta United has had their chances. Have not been able to put one in the back of the net. Cincinnati just had a chance to go over the bar with Brad Gazan with the glove save and knocking it over the bar, and corner kick for FC Cincinnati. So scoreless in Cincinnati in the 57th. 2-1 here as we're in minute number 60. Goals on the board from Luis Fernando in the 10th. Andrew Carlton in the 49th have been the 2 for Atlanta United 2. The equalizer back in the 26th was Nico Rittmeyer. And there goes Andrew Carlton again. Spinaroonie, and look at the room Metcalf has if he can get there.
He's not going to be able to. That's a pretty ball from Carlton, though. And he's going to have that opportunity. We saw Pittsburgh really attack Charleston down that side of the field last time out. And you're going to have guys like Luis Fernando and Jack Metcalf who can combine down there, and Andrew Carlton who can play that switch to open up.
Guerra looking to go on Hernandez, and it ends up with Nelson. Back to Ta'anunga, Andrew Carlton on him. Scoop looked like it was off of Anunga, and they're going to give it to the Stripes. Bella will throw.
A good pressure defense, forcing a difficult pass there. Atlanta United 2 gets the ball back again. And now I think you just want to hang on to the ball a little bit here. If the opportunity presents itself to get forward and break, you do it. But as they start to pressure down here, you can start hitting those balls just like that to Metcalf, where he's going to have room to make the move getting up the field. But it has to be a better ball than that as Charleston's going to break.
Angelo Kelly with the interception. Metcalf with the push from behind disrupts the play enough. Brendan Moore will end up on it.
Ball's got to be better than that from Metcalf as Atlanta United 2 look to hold the ball a little bit here. They're under siege from Charleston, who are starting to press and trying to find the goal to tie this game up. And bad passes can open up that really quickly for Atlanta United 2.
Mikey Ambrose got in the way, almost found Luis Fernando, but it's going to end up back with the Battery. Nico Rittmeyer, Andrew Carlton chasing. Rittmeyer temporarily lost control of it, got it back. Sends it back to Kyle Nelson, who will go all the way back to Taylor Mueller, and they'll go around the horn, Obi Woodbine. Van Schaik and Kelly, the chip, intercepted by Metcalf. Nicely done. Back to Brendan Moore, who had Guerra in his face, so he just sends it forward center circle. Joust was lost, but Carlton is there. Conway gets it in possession, stolen away, and a whistle on Conway as Angelo Kelly tried to turn.
Conway trying to take care of the job there, trying to get everything squared up and just unable to do so.
Yellow card in the 62nd for Jackson Conway.
Update from the first team. As we'll take a look at this.
Take a look at the replay first.
Yeah, let's leave you in suspense here. And Conway pulls him down there, tries to turn on it. A great job to get around Conway and not let Conway box him out.
So you want to give the update now?
Yeah. What happens as often as the sun rising?
I believe last time I checked that means that Joseph Martinez scores a goal.
That's what happened.
So in the 60th minute, Joseph Martinez scores. Great transition opportunity by Atlanta United. And Atlanta United leading Cincinnati by the score of 1-0 in the 60th minute. You saw the St. Louis Red Bulls score. And that's the one that means a lot to St. Louis, Birmingham, and Charleston. St. Louis, if that holds over the next 45 minutes, they'll give themselves a little space in that 9-10 area in the Eastern Conference. If there was a draw tonight in this match, if you were Charleston and you came out of here with 1 point, you would be ahead of Birmingham in the table on goal difference. Right now, you're still in 11th place. So you've got some work to do here in the next 30 minutes or so if you're the Charleston Battery.
Looks like they're about to ready to make a change over for Charleston on the sideline. Not sure who that is coming in just quite yet.
And Rittmeyer from behind on Carlton, who will quickly restart it. Hernandez found Luis Fernando, who dribbles out of a jam. Marini was chasing. Van Schaik is there. Fernando and Hernandez. George Campbell.
That from George Campbell is what I want to see more of, is that ball, that passing, as that ball's crossed in, and Carlton's waiting for it, and it's cleared out.
Rittmeyer with the outside of the boot just to send it forward. Guerra chests it down to try to gain control. Step over to try to lose Mikey Ambrose. Didn't quite happen.
Guerra's still such a fun player to watch. Even 31 years old. It feels like an old age for soccer, but for him, he's still so much fun to watch. Just on the ball, just the way he moves, the way he body feints. Really fun to watch him 1v1 with players and cause problems.
Somebody looks like they lost
shoes
part of their
wrappings.
kit or a wrap or something. Looks like 2 wraps were discarded very, very quickly. Intercepted. Charleston with a chance here in the 65th. Carlton with the foul from behind.
Carlton with the professional foul there.
Yep.
We'll see. Doesn't look like it's going to be a card, but trying to reach his foot around there and stop that break.
Let's take another look. And when we talk about professional fouls, that's what that is.
Yeah, Dacos plays that ball. He's trying to get it out left and doesn't get it high enough. Puts it off the looks like off the collarbone of a Charleston player. Carlton's got to come in there, try and stick the foot out. Best case scenario, if you're Carlton, you get that ball. Worst case scenario, you saw what happened right there. It's his first foul.
Nelson looking to drive on Bello. Bello gets in the way, nicely done. So it'll be a deep throw for Charleston here as we get toward minute 66.
Looks like a sub getting ready to come in for Charleston.
Looks like it's Zico Lewis. And Shake trying to get things moving for the Battery. Spins on Luis Fernando. Nice left and headed out of the way by Mikey Ambrose.
Go foul the other way there.
Angelo Kelly not happy on that call.
Jose Hernandez politicking for the foul, gets it. He kind of stuck his hands up in the air after he got bumped. Wasn't sure we were going to see that one given by Natalie Simon, but she did.
So at the next opportunity, looks like Zico Lewis is going to be coming in for Charleston. And if I caught a peek at the board, it looks like it's going to be a bit of an offensive substitution for defense there. A nasty idea from Ta Anunga to keep Jack Metcalf from going any further.
Looks like we'll see the sub right now.
And that is going to be the evening for Kyle Nelson. So Kyle Nelson leaves in the 67th. Zico Lewis will be coming in for Mike Anhauser in the Charleston battery. So Zico Lewis, who leads the battery in goals, chances created, tied for second on the team in assists, leads the team in shots. So name an offensive category. Zico Lewis is right there at the top of it.
What a luxury that is to bring off the bench.
And Mike Anhauser decides to send Kyle Nelson to the bench for the rest of the day. So it's going to be offense for defense when it comes to that particular sub for Augie in the battery here in the 67th.
And we'll see how Augie has them lining up. This is a team in the years past we saw him play with 3 at the back. We'll see how that goes.
Kuzminski.
Yellow card caution issued to the Charleston battery.
With the save there, and they end up with
number 22
possession. Ta Anunga with the yellow here in the 68th minute. So Ta Anunga gets the yellow. Battery with possession. And you want to go ahead and give the update from Cincinnati, sir?
More of the same. Joseph Martinez goal. Atlanta United has a 2-0 lead now as Charleston battery start to break.
And nicely done by George Campbell to keep that from going any further from Kotaro Higashi.
Great job by Campbell. Sticks a foot in there, takes that off Higashi, because Higashi had a player running out left, wasn't able to see who it was. He had numbers, he had opportunity.
Here comes Zico Lewis. Ta Anunga on the overlap. Nicely done to get away from traffic there. Lewis with Higashi in the middle. Dante Marini available. Poke looking for Zico. Marini will get there. Flag stayed down. Crashing for an opportunity was Ta Anunga. Didn't know if he wanted to head it or just volley it into the net, but it ends up being a goal kick. Last touch by Ta Anunga.
Ta Brian Anunga-shaped bowling ball goes flying into the box there. Charleston wasn't sure what he wanted to do with it, but you can never accuse him of not putting his body on the line for that play.
Let's take another look at Ta Anunga, 22 in white.
Over the chip over the top, going across the box there, and just, it's not a human being I want to get hit by. I've walked by him before. He's not necessarily one I want running into me.
No, especially at a high rate of speed.
Oh, no, and he generates high rate of speed. He gets up there pretty quickly.
Programming reminder, with just weeks remaining in the regular season, the pressure's officially on. Tune into ESPN3 October 2nd, 10 o'clock Eastern, as El Paso Locomotive look to secure one of the final playoff spots, while Fresno FC has its sights set on hosting some playoff matches. It's Locomotive FC and the Foxes, October 2nd, 10 o'clock Eastern, Wednesday night soccer on ESPN3.
That's a pretty ball from Zico Lewis, and George Campbell once again takes it off Higashi's foot. And Atlanta United 2 can look to break if they want to. Coming up to Andrew Carlton now.
Carlton with the spin. Kelly from behind and the whistle. And that might get Ta Anunga a bit of a talking to from Natalie Simon. No card, just frustration.
Been happy with the way she's been handling the game. A couple cards thrown out tonight. I don't think any of them have been egregious by any stretch of the imagination, but I think she's done a good job of talking to players, letting them know where the line is, letting them know where they stand on the line. And a lot of times that's personally what I want to see is if we're not giving cards, have those conversations. Let everyone knows where they stand. Let everyone know where the line is. Communicate. As Atlanta United 2, looks like they have a sub getting ready. Looks to be Lawrence White.
You mentioned about having certain bodies available for the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, Lawrence White's never met a tackle he didn't like. If he had 3 feet, he'd put 3 feet into a tackle.
Here's the chance for the sub for Lawrence White. Let's see whose night it is. Jackson Conway. So Stephen Glass going defensive here with 20 minutes to go. So we got to keep an eye on Lawrence White because of the number of yellow cards he has. He is the only one in the team with double digits. You've got Jose Hernandez with 7. Jackson Conway with 6, but far and away, Lawrence White with 10 yellows. He gets another, he has to sit.
LGP would be proud.
Yes. I figure there's some mentorship going on there too, you know.
Oh, there has to be. A little bit of LGP, a little bit of Jeff Lorenowitz style there, but White.
Big Red and LGP mentoring Lawrence White. How about that?
That's terrifying. Fernando trying to make that run, but he's a bit offside. White's a guy who can play that sit in front of the back line and be that destroying six if you want him to, but he's more than just a destroyer. He can play with the ball at his feet. You might also ask him to play on the back line itself. Just depends on what the game presents.
Looks like they're going to call Guerra for the foul, climbing over George Campbell as they jousted.
Also, as we've seen, Lawrence White can't score goals.
Yes. And this looks like the tall timber that you talked about early on is going to make his way in, and it's going to be the end of the evening for Kitaro Higashi. Ian Svanson coming in. So 25 out, 9 in for the Battery. That leaves Mike Anhauser with one substitution left on his bench among Patterson, Candela, Piggott, and Boswa. But Ian Svanson now in the 72nd.
We'll see what they do with this going forward. It's another big body up there. It's another set-piece weapon. As we mentioned, though, he has shown Atlanta United, too. It was last year up in Gwinnett County when you were at a different location at the stadium of Gwinnett Braves, now the Gwinnett Stripers. But as Svanson showed you there, he can play with the ball at his feet as Atlanta United, too, get on the attack.
Bello. And penalty! You saw Nico Rittmeyer kind of move that right leg and right hip out a little bit. George Bello tried to turn the corner, didn't happen. Natalie Simon calls the penalty on Nico Rittmeyer as Bello tried to turn the corner halfway through minute 73.
Let's take a look at it here.
Watch the right, just kind of
Just kind of sticks his leg out there as Bello cuts left. I'm not sure if Bello catches back up with that ball. And Nico just doesn't need to stick the foot out there. I understand his frustration with it, though. But Bello sets him up, cuts it back left. Nico sticks that leg out there. I don't think he meant to. It looks like it's going to be Captain Jack over the ball.
Metcalf and Kuzminski one-on-one, separated by 12. Natalie Simon directing traffic, making sure everybody's outside the area. And it's 3. Jack Metcalf sends home the penalty after Nico Rittmeyer is called on it. And for Jack Metcalf, it is his second goal of the season, and distance is happening between the Stripes and the Battery. The Battery are down 2, Atlanta United 2, up 3-1 in the 74th. Let's take another look at what Captain Jack saw with his openings on Joe Kuzminski.
When we look from behind Captain Jack, he's always going that side. Kuzminski gets a touch that ball. And Captain Jack hits it really well. Metcalf hits it to that lower right. Kuzminski gets a touch to it. It's just bouncing a little much, not able to get a clean touch. Goes past his hand, goes into the goal. Atlanta United 2, up 3-1, and Charleston really has to be feeling it right now. Down 2 goals in the 75th minute. They desperately need a point at least, and that hill just got a lot higher.
In the 74th minute.
Game has not turned second half, and there's Mike Anhauser. Seeing everything happening in front of him with 15 minutes to go, needing goals. And with a front 3 of Guerra, Svanson, and Zico Lewis, he's put all of his cards on the table trying to get full points.
Andrew Carlton wants more there. He was looking for that ball long, and Moore gave it to him, just hit it a little bit far as it goes all the way back the other end for Kuzminski. But Carlton's looking for more. This is an Atlanta United 2 team that we talked about early in the game. They want to play spoiler. They have the capability, and I don't think it's dissimilar from last year where you saw this team at the end of 2018 start to come together and start to play better when they had more consistency. Now Luis Fernando with a chance.
To Luis Fernando. He's got reinforcements, cuts in on Obi Woodbine. Kratz with the left blocked. Wyke, he'll launch, and it's through.
They're going to have those opportunities as Charleston has to push forward. Really good ball there, letting Luis Fernando get free, and he is such a problem when he gets free like that. We saw it on the goal earlier tonight. We saw it right there. He can pick his head up and look for that pass. He's just as capable of putting his head back down, dribbling on you, and creating the own opportunity.
Kuzminski, center circle. Svanson.
God bless George Campbell for trying to challenge Svanson.
Whistle on Campbell for climbing that ladder.
He's going to need an oxygen tank if he's getting that high up.
Ta Anunga off the quick reset. Van Schenkel drifted back. Had Angelo Kelly, pulled it back. Here's Woodbine. Right up the center channel, looking for Zico Lewis, and it's picked off. Metcalf, Svanson chasing and lurking. Back to Brendan Moore. Moore looking to send Bello over Rittmeyer, and he'll just let it go. Battery working quickly here, minute 77. Mueller back to Kuzminski, around the horn. Van Schaik, Woodbine. Guerra lost control of it, got it back. Lawrence Wyken pursued. Here's Angelo Kelly.
Just under 15 minutes left. You've got to wonder what the last two subs are going to be, or if there even is one for Atlanta. How does Stephen Glass feel about this team? Does he like what he sees right now? Does he want to make any changes? Meanwhile, does Augie want to make any changes as Campbell fights through that tackle from Svanteson, but foul gets called anyway? I think Campbell wanted to keep the running there. Is that center back run, or just let him run?
Hey, you see it, you're going to take it.
Just want to go.
Get that chance. Turn minute 78. Bello from Kratz. Trying to send AC, but Ta'anunga gets there first. He's trying to get away from Andrew Carlton and sends it back to Obi Woodbine, and they'll get it back on the give. Great pursuit through the middle for Atlanta United, too, to keep the battery on, keeping them honest, really, more than anything else, trying to get forward here.
Jose Hernandez being a bulldog tonight, not just doing a lot of dirty work there in the middle, trying to clean things up, trying to pursue, trying to close down. It's a lot of thankless work, especially when it comes to looking at it from a broadcast angle, but you have to imagine coaches are looking at this nodding in assurance with what he's been able to put in.
Taylor Mueller. Sending Svanteson. Dacus is there. Svanteson is trying to bull his way through Wesley Dacus. Zico Lewis with a chance, misses everything wide left.
Tries to curl that ball into the corner, just gets underneath it instead of around it, so that ball just kind of starts just floating uphill a bit.
Fans, you could continue to enjoy the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. The USL is excited to announce the USL Championship and USL League One will remain with the leader in sports for 3 more years. ESPN Plus will continue to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 matches a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks, including 9 games on ESPN Deportes. Continue to follow, support, and watch Atlanta United 2 on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Mikey Ambrose trying to clear. Goes through a couple of bodies. Nice slide tackle by Kevin Kratz, but it ends up still with the Charleston battery. Into the area. Svanteson header off the post. The flag was up a long time ago.
Glad you saw the flag. I did, and I just saw Svanteson just hardly jump. And he puts the ball in the back of the net, but flags up. Good save anyway from Brendan Moore. Just at this point.
Let's take a look at what happened.
It's a good delivery.
He's in front of everything. Off the bar.
I thought Moore got to touch that ball. He did not. It was off the bar. It doesn't matter now. It didn't count, but at the end of the day, it's just a highlight of what could have been for the battery, but that's what you want to see from Svanteson, and that's exactly what Atlanta United 2 has to be aware of with him out there, because there's going to come a ball like that in this game, most likely, where he's not going to be offside, and you're going to be asking George Campbell or Wesley Dacus to get above him.
Good movement by Lawrence Wack to get away from Ta'anunga, and the stripes are off. Metcalf tried to send Carlton through on a grounder, and Mueller was there to pick it off.
Again, that's the side of the field. We really saw Pittsburgh attack Charleston last week when they created their only goal that game, and it was a ground ball pass. Wasn't trying to go through the size of Charleston's back line. As Dacus commits a foul there, and now Charleston's going to have a free kick in a pretty good spot.
Zico Lewis thought about a quick restart, but Kevin Kratz is going to let him slow things down just a little bit.
And another sub coming in for Charleston, it looks like, in just a moment.
So let's see what it looks like here. Looks like it's Boswa. And that is going to be the night for Atula Guerra. So Arthur Boswa comes in. Another fresh set of legs up top. So it's going to be Boswa, Svanteson, and Zico Lewis now, with Guerra putting in a quality 81 minutes.
Guerra moved around the field a lot, had some opportunities there, and Atlanta United 2 did a really good job, I thought, of closing him down and making him really work hard for opportunities.
Zico Lewis early in the area, headed up in the air. First ball, second ball. Svanteson tries to turn on it. Brendan Moore will fall on it, but the flag was up. That's it for Mike Anhauser with subs. Lewis, Svanteson, and Boswa. As Ian Svanteson tries to go in and challenge and create something happening there. anything to get momentum for Charleston, but Atlanta United 2 ends up with it, and they try to get it out of trouble.
Basso, another big body up there at 6'3", so more size if you're Charleston that you can start putting in the box there. You're going to start pumping in these crosses, looking for these set pieces, looking for the big bodies to just kind of put in the mixer there.
Lewis, Ta'anunga, Woodbine, looking for Svaneson, found him, but it got to Dacus 2, grounder by Nico Rittmeyer through a lot of traffic. Brendan Moore gets there as we head toward minute 83.
It's not the same thing, but I have to think that it gives Atlanta and Atlanta United 2 fans just these horrible flashbacks of Forrest Lasso when he was with the Charleston
No
Battery.
doubt.
Forrest Lasso was good for a header a game.
Tall drinks of water equal Charleston Battery. And a sub for Stephen Glass and Atlanta United 2, and it looks like that's going to be the night for Luis Fernando. The last sub for the Stripes is
Jack
Luis
Metcalf
Fernando.
down on the field, so this might get changed up depending on what's going on.
Initially, it was Kevin Barajas coming in for Luis Fernando. And Captain Jack is letting Natalie Simon get an earful and a half as to how he got taken down. And now it looks like, is that Dante Marini getting into it with Captain Jack over on the touchline?
Looks like they're having a spirited conversation.
Yes, I think that would be the word to use. So there's your spirit right there. Marini 19 and Jack Metcalf number 4.
So will be Fernando coming off.
Barajas coming in for the final 10 minutes or so. So both teams have used their 3 subs. Remember, Andrew Carlton came on at the half for Amir Bashti. Waited all of 4 minutes before he got a goal on the board to make it 2-1 for Atlanta United 2. Lawrence White came in. And there's your scoring update from Nippert Stadium. The 2 goals by Joseph Martinez. In a big win opportunity for Atlanta United 2 to keep pace in the Eastern Conference, just to make sure that they're going to stay in that chase for second with an outside shot at getting the top spot in the East. They're going to need some help from folks who are going to be playing NYCFC, who are currently at the top, but staying in step with Philadelphia Union here with this match in hand for Atlanta United is big tonight up in Cincinnati.
Well, it's an admirable effort trying to keep up with the scoring here at the Fifth Third Bank Stadium.
2 goal margins in both locations. Ta'anunga trying to turn. Angelo Kelly got there and just launching it forward, trying to settle it down. Campbell, nicely done, trying to make sure that Charleston does not advance. So Angelo Kelly was trying to start something up offensively here in minute 85. Second half has started with St. Louis FC and Red Bulls 2. They are in the 51st minute. Brendan Moore picks it up and will fall down on it. St. Louis still with that 1-0 lead, so they're putting some distance between themselves, Birmingham and Charleston, with this result happening right now. So St. Louis trying to assure themselves of that 9th spot, because there are 3 groups basically in the Eastern Conference. You have Indy and you have Red Bulls 2 up top, and then you've got Lou City in that group second as Andrew Carlton is fouled. And then you have that group hanging out right down there at 8, 9, 10, and 11. And St. Louis right now at 9. Birmingham is the one being chased by Charleston, with the goal difference being what it is. Couple of wins for the Charleston Battery, and Birmingham's going to have to do some serious thinking.
Well, even if this result holds tonight, with what Charleston is capable of, even with the schedule compression, as George Bello tries to get on the attack for Atlanta United 2, I mean, that Charleston, Andrew Carlton's long shot goes wide. That Charleston-Birmingham game, even if tonight's result holds, looks just monumental.
October 5th at Birmingham, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So that's part of the schedule that, if you're a Charleston Battery fan, you're looking at that one as one of those 6-pointers that we all talk about, where you've really got to put everything on the table and get full points on the road. Svaneson gets there before Captain Jack. That was a height mismatch if ever there was one.
He'll be fine.
Looking to send it in. Knocked away by Dacus, but Svaneson will track it down.
Dacus can jump out of the stadium, but he's going to be hard-pressed to do it, especially with Svaneson. Svaneson not just big, but he can lean on you and take away that jump a bit.
Good work defensively there, but it's going to stick with Charleston. Andrew Carlton lobbying that Ta'anunga was the last to hit it. The officials thought otherwise, and so now you've got Rittmeyer, Ta'anunga into the area. Van Schaik tried to wind up and fire. Nothing there. Angelo Kelly's now going to have to work his way wide. Look at Lawrence White get the ball away.
Lawrence White just out there hustling, and the foul goes the other way.
Frustration
Fantastic.
Foul, if ever there was, by Angelo Kelly.
Well, Kelly's trying to chase that ball down. White gets the inside position and doesn't give it up. Kelly eventually fouls him down in the corner. It's one where I'd like to see, if you're Charleston, I think you'd like to see Kelly not foul him there and force him to either try and play it off of him or just fire it off, out of bounds for a corner or a free kick, but it doesn't, or a throw-in, but it doesn't happen.
Trying to win the joust that time was Kevin Kratz on Van Schaik. Mueller sends it forward, looking for Svaneson.
Well, Ambrose took that one off the face.
Mikey Ambrose was there, so it'll be a throw. Svaneson will bring it in halfway through minute 88. Zico Lewis. And they're going to call a foul on Jose Hernandez, so probably from about 26. Looks like Charleston's going to have the opportunity for a set piece as we head toward minute 89.
Very dangerous spot. And this is a point where we talked about mental sharpness for Atlanta United too. This is where you want it right here. Looking at a couple minutes of stoppage time, potentially looking ahead as you've got a couple goals in this half with all the subs. You're going to need to be sharp here for 5 minutes at least, if not more. And if you give up the first one, you're definitely going to have to tighten up because Charleston's going to ride that wave.
Woodbine with Kratz, the one-man wall, top of the 6, headed away. Mueller is there trying to figure something out, trying to launch it in. Lawrence White, can he track it down?
Yes, he can.
Yes, he does, right there at the corner flag.
Kevin Kratz looking to be let loose. How often do you get to say that?
Woodbine chests it down. Van Schaik is there as well. Chipped forward. Baswa, Svaneson all in the area. Marini sends it in right on Brendan Moore. Nicely done to get there before Ian Svaneson did.
Great job of reading the flight. Great job getting out there, getting two hands on it, grabbing it, falling down. Take a second, catch your breath, maybe check the time and see what's for dinner before you put it back in play.
Send a text, make a phone call, hit the Google machine. Maybe there's a question that you had that you needed a quick answer for. George Bello down with it. Angelo Kelly looking to turn. Sent forward by Rittmeyer. Nicely done by Dacus. Zico Lewis with a dangerous idea, trying to get the ball away from Mikey Ambrose. He's called for the foul, and so Ambrose will take his time.
It's a good situation for Atlanta United, too, getting the veterans on the ball here. Basically just telling your veteran players, hey, stay on the ball. See if you can make Charleston make a mistake right now as Charleston really starts to press here. We've got less than 20 seconds before we find out how much stoppage time we can expect.
Looking for Andrew Carlton. Rittmeyer got there first. Carlton tried to get there before Angelo Kelly did, and Rittmeyer just tries to bomb it forward again with the right. Defended there by Dacus. He's got to get up in a hurry, and it touched the right arm.
That should be a card. It is. Dacus kind of chicken-winged his arm out there.
3 minutes added. So we'll have 3 minutes attached to what we've got here. So that is another yellow for Dacus.
A professional foul, maybe not necessarily as traditional as you think of pulling somebody
slow
down.
Things down completely.
Stick that chicken wing out there and turn everything into a set piece. Let everybody get set.
So Zico Lewis sending this to the top of the box with all that tall timber that's there, whether it's Baswa or Svaneson. Taylor Mueller's involved. Heading back post. Moore gets there. Had it, dropped it, but now you've got a transition chance with Andrew Carlton.
Carlton's got Barajas running right down the middle.
And he couldn't control it.
I wasn't sure if he couldn't control it or if he was looking for the dummy there, but Wyke wasn't that quick.
And now Wyke will just go into the corner. Van Schaik will chase. And now here's where physical strength comes in. He just knocks it off of Van Schaik, so it'll be a throw for Atlanta United 2. And Kevin Barajas is thinking about it. And he'll be the one to eventually throw it in, as we're about halfway through the 3 minutes that were added onto the clock. Then Barajas has put the ball down. He's like, nah, I'm not very good at throwing the ball in at 90 plus 1.5, so I'm going to let somebody else do it.
Well, if you're not being pressured into throwing the ball in, let somebody do it. He comes over, let juggle it a little bit before you throw it in.
Kratz in the corner. Van Schaik was there.
Now you got to get back on defense right here, right now. Charleston's got it. They're going to take the quick throw in. They're going to start pushing the ball.
Kelly, Mueller launching, looking for Svaneson. Svaneson has some space. Dacus closes it down nicely. And there on the angle again, George Campbell. Boss was chasing him, and Campbell just deposits it over the touchline.
We had to know exactly what Charleston's going to do. They've got size, and they've got speed with Zico Lewis getting forward as well when he does. But you didn't know they were going to come very quickly there.
Van Schaik, Woodbine. Pulls it away from Mueller. Sends it forward. Marini. Last hit Metcalf.
Great work by Metcalf, just putting his body in the way there, getting it out. That's another 10, 15 seconds coming off the clock potentially.
Svaneson looking to turn, just brushes it behind, looking for Angelo Kelly into the corner. Zico Lewis in with the left. Moore lets it sit over everybody. Bello will let it go. Rittmeyer is there. Mueller with the left. Top of the box, chested down. Looked like it was Svaneson. Cleared away. And that'll do it. Atlanta United 2 with a huge 3 points. And we talked about the two plot lines for these two teams coming into tonight, as Wesley Dacus is down inside the area, and we'll keep an eye on him as the physios come out. But Atlanta United 2 comes through with full points in a 3-1 win over Charleston, and Charleston's schedule compression comes up again with another loss. It is now 5 in a row on the road where they have not been able to win a match.
And this one hurts. It hurts just like the Pittsburgh one the other night. Now, that one's closer, but this one absolutely one where, it's 1-1 at the halftime. You give up the quick goal in the second half, then the late penalty that really expands things out for Atlanta United too. You see Svaneson put the ball in the back of the net where he's offside, but just not able to consistently create enough for Charleston. You just have to wonder how much the legs were just struggling late in that game.
We'll find out. We'll put a bow on the show. Full points for Atlanta United 2. A 3-1 win over the Charleston Battery. We will wrap it up when we come back. Stick and stay on ESPN+.
I knew your name before you did. I knew your fears, your hopes. I knew what you could accomplish, how great you could be. And I knew just where to take you when you got hurt.
You'll be back out there in no time.
For physical therapists and certified athletic trainers who only work with young athletes, there's Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Sports Medicine. Moms know.
There are never enough hours in the day, so you can't let sniffles, strep, or aches and pains slow you down. But finding great healthcare that fits your schedule can be tricky. With Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, you can get great same-day care right around the corner. There are 27 locations and counting, all with extended hours and most open 7 days a week. You can book an appointment online to get in, out, and on your way. Visit piedmont.org/quickcare now to learn more. Piedmont Quick Care at Walgreens, one stop to better.
Los accidentes suceden sin avisar y conseguir el tratamiento médico que usted o un familiar merece puede resultar difícil si no cuenta con la ayuda de un buen abogado. Por eso nos dedicamos a pelear por sus derechos, asegurándonos que usted no solo reciba la compensación que merece, sino que también reciba la mejor atención médica. Le atendemos en español. 404-888-8888. Bader Law Firm, comprometidos con usted y su familia.
Welcome back to the Proving Ground. Full points for Atlanta United 2 as they get their 7th win of the season, knocking off the Charleston Battery, who are in a playoff fight, hanging around the playoff bar. Final score 3-1. And let's take a peek at the final stats, and you'll see a bunch of numbers up here. This is what we see, but what do we know?
We know Charleston's in a rougher patch than they were before the last 90 minutes. We know that they're going to have their hands full going forward, and we know Atlanta United 2 is figuring things out a bit. This is the third straight really solid performance from them against a Charleston team that came in here looking to play. This isn't like a Charleston team that planned to sit back here and do nothing and try and escape with a point.
Goal by Luis Fernando in the 10th. Goal by Andrew Carlton in the 49th. PK 25 minutes later by Captain Jack. And those were the goals that got on the board for the 3-1 final. The Stripes knocking off the Charleston Battery. News is just as good in Cincinnati with Atlanta United, the parent club, leading Cincinnati late by the score of 2-0. Full points all around for all of the Stripes tonight, whether it's the home or the road. Atlanta United 2 of the win. Thanks for hanging out with us here on ESPN Plus. It's the USL Championship. Play safe, everybody. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.